Good afternoon, Whisperers, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Whispers in a Bottle Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays. I am your host, Sonya LaRae, certified lifestyle relationship counselor, educator, and motivational speaker. Oh my goodness, are we not excited to be in here today? This week has been jam packed, and I have to tell you guys something right off the top of the show. I had the pleasure of being interviewed this week by Desiree Toppings for the Self Love Effect podcast. Please go and take a listen and show her some love. Please click like on there and give her a review. I can't begin to say how much I enjoyed meeting Desiree. She's such a positive and bright energy. It was just dynamic. And I'm so glad to say that I had this opportunity. Whisperers, I like to take care of housekeeping normally at the end of our show. But today is just a little bit different. So I'm going to do this first and foremost because I want you guys to be aware of something. Whispers in a Bottle, as you know, you get emails from us from our Yahoo mail. Normally it's from whispersinabottle@yahoo.com. Well, I have to tell you, we have moved to our own domain and we are located at information at whispersinabottlepodcast.com. And if you have any questions or want to suggest a topic or, to email us, please email us at info, that's info, not information, excuse me, let me correct that. That's info at whispersinabottlepodcast.com. So once again, that's info at whispersinabottlepodcast.com. And I want you all to join in on the conversation. Feel free to drop your comments below. Make sure you click like and share and subscribe today. And, if you're listening live on the radio with us, make sure you call in at 516-595-8091. And Blog Talk Radio has done something just terrific for us. They have opened up a live chat box in our studio for you all to drop your comments, your questions. If you want me to repeat anything, drop your comment below and I will get to them because you know how your girl loves to monitor a great chat box. Listen, Whisperers, did you get your cocktail or your mocktail of this episode? Oh my goodness. First of all, it's just fitting for this discussion because it's called the Prenup. And I'm so excited to have this cocktail today. It's so refreshing. It's light. It's very good. And you know what? If you didn't get your cocktail or your mocktail of the episode, you're missing out. So you have to join our VIP listing. And that's actually live in the description box. Click on the link, join the VIPs, and get your cocktail or your mocktail of the episode. I'm telling you, you're missing it. You're totally missing it. So, with that being said, we'd like to thank the sponsor of this episode, which is Cella. They believe makeup should help you embrace your natural beauty without compromising your clean and sustainable values. Beauty, wellness, and sustainability work together. Cella, where beauty inside and out. Use code SONYA15 at checkout. Once again, that's Sonya, SONYA 15 at checkout. So, you guys, are you ready for this discussion? To prenup or not to prenup? That is the question. But this topic actually came to us via a letter. And so I'm going to read the letter to you first, and then we're going to dive directly into it. And so here it is. It states, Dear Sonya, while my fiance and I were dating, he had made mention of a prenuptial agreement. Now, fast forward to us getting engaged, he asked me to sign a prenuptial agreement. I think my heart stopped instantly. I was like, why? Don't you love me? Don't you trust me? I feel like he doesn't love me, and by far this shows the lack of trust that he has for me. Please help me. I don't know if this is like the end or what I should think right now. Wow. Okay. Take a minute, take just a moment here, and let's just let that seep in for a second, whispers. Woo, that was major. You might need to take a sip of your prenup as well. Well, I like to start every discussion with a great meaning or a definition. And so this is no different. So we're going to start this discussion off by getting a clear meaning of what is a prenuptial or the prenuptial. It's a written contract by two people before they are married. Hold on a second. We're going to take a quick commercial break and I'll be right back with you. Hold on just a moment. I so apologize. We was having some problems with technical issues here, and I apologize to you all greatly. So let me start again. So I like to start with a clear meaning and a definition. So the definition we're going to get is on prenup, and it's prenuptial. It means a written contract by two people before they are married. Many times when I meet with clients and for counseling, this happens to be one of the hot button topics. Believe it or not, whisperers, this is a major, major conversation. And it can bring up hurt feelings, distrust, thoughts of doom, and maybe some can even feel that you are setting the marriage up for failure. It's like a prerequisition to failure. So let me just let you guys know that less than 5% of couples that get married have a prenup. And more than 65% who do end up getting divorced wished that they had a prenup in place. See, I want to state this right off the top of this discussion. Having a prenuptial agreement in no way, and I cannot emphasize this strong enough, that in no way does this reflect on the love and the trust that the person has for you. And the prenuptial agreements are more like a business discussion. And that's the way, if you look at it in your mind and look at it from a standard of that perspective, it's just a business discussion along the lines of how you will deal with finances if you unfortunately have to dissolve the marriage. And I know a lot of people think, well, that's what a will is for. Well, yes, exactly. A will is for that. But a will does not cover for if there is a divorce, an unforeseen occurrence of a divorce happening. So, what most couples don't realize about a prenup agreement is they are designed to protect both parties. And even if there is a death or a divorce, as I stated, the prenuptial agreement is put into place to protect both individuals. And prenups are much like a will. You want to make sure that your affairs are in order, and it eliminates the fight over who gets what. And even this is good. Like if you have a prenuptial agreement and you have children, or you have a mate that has actually children that married and you're now a step parent to, you can make certain agreements within that prenuptial agreement to have it set up a certain way. And when you go into a prenuptial agreement, you look at it from the standpoint of protecting your entity and as well as the entity of your mate. Now, I will say there are some prenups that are by far one sided. And now that's another discussion, because there are those that go into a prenuptial agreement and it is totally one sided and has one element that is only into protecting that one person's entity and nothing else. And that's something else that we'll look into further as we get into this discussion. But many times a partner may have you sign one, but then it turns out that you become more successful than that person. So you have to look at it too from that standpoint. The person who may be having you to sign this prenuptial agreement, but maybe you're launching your business and you have not really, built your equity or any of your assets or anything like that. Also, make sure that, that's a kind of a protection for yourself, your legacy as well. So these are certain things that a prenuptial agreement helps you to figure out and to design. And meaning you're not trying to, label this person or take this person for a ride per se financially either. So now in regards to the person who wrote into us, she shouldn't have been surprised whatsoever, because this is the topic and the conversation that you have way before you ever get married, and way before you ever even think about taking that life journey with someone. And she had stated that he had brought it up on different occasions when they were dating, but she kind of laughed it off and kept it moving. Well, this is the thing. She should have started to take the conversation serious when he made mention of it during that time. And she should have actually started to really look at it for what it was worth at that time as well. Meaning this, as he was explaining this and he stated that he would like to have a prenuptial agreement, she should have said to him, well, is it that you want a prenuptial agreement because you don't trust me? Or is it that you're really not in love with me? Or how is this for you? And needless to say, he would have had the opportunity to come on and come in that room with her, sit down calmly, and explain his logic and his thinking for asking for a prenuptial agreement. And then at that time, she could have decided if this is something that she could be agreeable with, that would not cause her any kind of heartache or that kind of resentment or anything in the back of her mind that could have been erased. And then as they move forward in this journey, now that they are engaged, is this a conversation that they can sit down with a professional and really take this moment to speak with each other and to grow onto what he was looking at and what he's trying to form? Because how it sounds is that he really cares about her, but he also needs to protect his entity as well. He could have obligations to his family, he has obligations to his employees. Whatever the case may be, it needs to be discussed further. So, with that being said, what I did is I decided to hold a poll. I did a poll with all of our whisperers, and I wanted to know how they felt about certain things. And this was the funny thing. When I did the poll, I would say I asked, would they sign a prenuptial agreement? And the numbers were like split down the middle. Half said yes, half said no. Then I changed the poll up and I did one for the guys and one for the girls. And I said, look, guys, would you be open to signing a prenuptial agreement? Or would you be comfortable asking for a prenuptial agreement? Well, needless to say, the guys were very open to signing a prenuptial agreement. They had no issue with it because, like they said, a woman has to protect herself, has to protect her entity if she has any children or anything like that. Some even brought up a mention about, there should be a clause in the prenuptial agreement with regards to if there's any infidelity on both people's parts, how they're going to handle that. But this was interesting. When I went to the ladies and asked them, they were really, they objected strongly. They did not see where it was necessary. If you're getting married, the two become one. Everybody is there together. It's like setting each other up for failure, or maybe you're plotting against that person because you don't have the right intentions. But then I looked at it even further after listening to that and seeing that, and a lot of it went in with heartfelt, like it was moved by heart decisions. Not looking at it from a standpoint of how this can protect you. prime example is this. We have two very famous people that are in the media currently that have divorced recently, and it's pretty amicable. They both are high powered individuals. They have a great net worth into the billions and the millions. And both parties signed a prenuptial agreement, which in turn has made it easy for them to transition into their new status of being divorced and co parenting with each other. Because the prenuptial agreement was set up in such a way to protect both entities as well as any offspring that was birthed through that marriage. And in turn, they're able to move forward. There's no hard feelings, there's no animosity, there's no anger, there's no yelling or anything like that. It's not a tit for tat kind of situation. So they have built up a firm structure within their marriage by having that prenuptial agreement, which in turn helped them to be able to move forward. And I also let couples know that if you are only a matter of months away from a marriage, from you getting married, or your marriage date is like a matter of weeks away, this is not the time to have that discussion regarding the prenup, because literally then that person will have that wrong connotation in. They will feel that you are now trying to come in and set them up for failure, or you have a private agenda of your own, which is something that you never, ever want to happen. Because when that happens, you literally now have someone who is just literally just kind of taken back by everything. And so, in turn, you just don't want to have that happen, or you don't want to make a person feel insecure about what they're doing either. So, it's better to discuss this openly. And so I want to give you a few reasons why you should think about signing a prenup. I'm going to give you some pros first. Okay? So you might want to take notes, and if you don't have a pen right now, just pin mark this episode, come back and listen to it, jot down some notes, and like I said, make sure that you like and share and subscribe, because this is a dynamic conversation that we're having today. So point number one is this: prenup agreements prevent disagreements. Let me reiterate that. Prenup agreements prevent disagreements. See, knowing how you'll handle the division of property if you get divorced, or forbid you pass away, this will give you peace of mind, and which actually is a key to a long and healthy marriage, because these are things that are not going to come up and keep stumbling over, or making you feel like this person has some kind of agenda that they're trying to work out. And if you do split up, a prenup will benefit you both financially and emotionally, and it minimizes legal fees and helps you to stay calm. Because see, in a prenuptial agreement, you can actually dictate of how much is covered from the divorce on legal fees or anything like that. And if you have things set up in a certain way, it minimizes those fees, because you don't have to go through certain chambers, those certain channels, excuse me, I did not mean chambers, certain channels that you would have to go through if you're getting divorced and it's not amicable, or you don't have a prenup set in place. And then the second reason is to protect your separate property and assets acquired during your marriage. Are you entering the marriage with assets? Do you expect to inherit money or be a benefactor? Are you a business owner who stands to accumulate assets? And during your marriage, certain actions and behaviors can muddy the water of what is a separate versus marital assets. You know, will your new spouse help out at your business or not? Now, this is the thing. Now, you have to also be mindful that if your mate is helping in your business and has a large share in your business, they are entitled to certain things. So you really need to do your homework. You really need to understand that. And you need to also understand how much of a percentage of that business will go to that mate for what they have invested as far as it goes with time and energy. And so you also have number three, you have the option to protect yourself from the debt of your future spouse. Now, this is huge. I got to tell you, this one is a huge one because, a lot of times you marry your mates and they're like, they may have like 50, $60,000 in debt. Well, you can stipulate that that debt that they came into the marriage with is not to be offset to you, and that you are not accountable or liable for any kind of action or recourse with regards to debt that they have occurred. And this is an important factor because many states see that debt of one person's becoming the problem of the next person. They shift that off to the next person. And even as far as it goes, how you're going to set up or stipulate, even if there's a death, and with regards to the prenuptial agreement, how that will work with that as well. So now that we have those pros, what are our cons? Because everything has a pro and a con to it. So I'm going to give you what the cons are too. The first con is this: you might not be able to claim a portion of business profits. Meaning, in the US, a spouse that contributes to the growth and success of that partner's professional practice or business is entitled to receive their share of the profits that occur from such agreements. And many states consider the increase in value to be uh, dividable or divisible property during the divorce. So that's why I was telling you in the pros why you have to be careful with that as well. So that's even like on your pros and your con side. So this way you're very clear with that. The second thing is you risk having your partner not trusting you much after requiring a prenup. Now, this is something that is a con, but it's also this. I tell my clients this: your potential mate can feel as if you're forcing them to sign a prenuptial agreement for you all to continue and to have a relationship together. And I will tell anyone who is faced with this or is thinking about this, if this is how you are feeling once the person asks you to sign the prenuptial agreement, you then need to really consider, is this a relationship that I really can enter and not hold resentment? Because resentment is a poison in itself and will destroy you. And it will destroy that marriage as well. And so many people don't understand that, really don't get into the full depth of certain things. And if this is a deal breaker for you, if a prenuptial agreement is a deal breaker for you, do not sign the dotted line and say, I do. Because this will continually come back up, and this will continually be the issue, the problem, and the demise of your relationship. And the third key factor is this: you may not be able to account for everything that might happen in the future. When you start the certain processes of a prenup, then you're guarding against the loss of current property and possessions. And after you enter into a legal marriage, then there may be additional properties or possessions. You may not have had children and never thought about it because you hadn't planned on having kids, but there's nothing put in there with regards to if you do have a child. Those are certain things that you have to kind of take into effect at that time. So now you have your pros and your cons, and you can kind of weigh it out. So to prenup or not to prenup, that's still the question, right? Let me say this, Whisperers. This discussion is something that is very challenging. It's a heavy discussion, and you may need to consult with a professional. And this is where I like to tell my couples that when you're sitting down and you're going through your couples therapy, this is when you're to be transparent. You're able to lay things out on the table clearly And having that mediator to be able to kind of discuss this and openly have a free discussion that will keep people's tempers, the climate just so, is something wonderful. And if you would like to work with me, or you and your husband like to, your potential mate would like to work with me, please feel free to, click the link that's in the description box and set up a consultation. And these are less turbulent discussions that can be had. And having the right channel and the right person to walk you through this is such a benefit. And look at this as if this is something that you may or may not be willing to really do. And that's I can't stress more than anything. You really have to look at it from a standpoint of, can you handle this type of agreement? Is this something that you want in your life or your relationship? And be honest. If that's a deal breaker for you, you have to be honest. So before we close out of this episode, and I really have enjoyed discussing this with you, to prenup or not to prenup. If you would like to continue this discussion, we always can go live in our Facebook group, which is located at www.facebook.com/whisper in a bottle, and that's without the S. Or you can connect with me on Instagram at whispers in a bottle _podcast. And it should be at the bottom of the screen and also down in the description box. You can click on the links. And don't forget, everybody, we have a new email. And once again, that email is info@whispersinabottlepodcast.com. Once again, that's info@whispersinabottlepodcast.com. And if you would like to be one of our sponsors, or you have a topic or a suggestion, please feel free to, drop us an email, and we would love to hear from you. And next week, we're actually going to be talking about um, embracing stress. I know, such a different topic, right? Wait till you hear what I have to say with regards to that. Once again, Whisperers, I thank you for always joining me. Welcome to Whispers in a Bottle, Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays. I am your host, Sonya LaRae, certified lifestyle relationship counselor, educator, and motivational speaker. And this has truly been my pleasure to be here with you today. And I look forward to us growing and having such a dynamic discussion. Okay, guys, have a good weekend. Be safe.